Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Given to temptation, pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today. Gaming creator CoryXKenshin called out YouTube after several of his videos were age-restricted in comparison to other non-black YouTubers. Now, CoryXKenshin went on a 15-minute video talking about how these age restrictions were hurting his brand and its platform, and he called out the racism I myself have experienced as related to YouTube recently. Now, back in April, I had an old 5-year-old video I did, age restricted by YouTube, and after I contacted YouTube through its chat, what they told me was that they would so-called review the video, and after they reviewed the video, they put a strike on my channel for hate speech. Now, the original age restriction for that video I did 5 years ago was for so-called sexual content. However, there was no sexual content in that video at all, and it looked like they were just arbitrarily looking for some reason to try to penalize my channel, because how do you go from an age restriction for sexual content on a video with no sexual content to a strike for hate speech? That was a critical question I made a demand of in the next chat I had with YouTube representatives, as I made a demand to get this strike off my channel. Now, another incident that took place a few weeks later was one with YouTuber Professor Black Truth, and Professor Black Truth had to deal with an age restriction on one of his videos, and I believe it was one where he was talking about Will Smith at the Oscars, and what they did to Professor Black Truth's channel was they went out here and did the same thing they did to my channel. They went with an age restriction, and then when Professor Black Truth appealed the age restriction, they looked to put a strike on his channel. And when we look at what happened to Professor Black Truth, myself, and CoryXKenshin, there's clearly a pattern of behavior at someone at YouTube regarding black men's channels. There's clearly somebody there looking to target black men's channels, and they are looking for reasons to go out here and try to find reasons to remove black males' channels off the YouTube platform. Because to have the same thing happen to 3 different YouTubers who produce 3 different types of content clearly shows that there is a pattern of anti-black male racism at YouTube, and that clearly somebody there does not like the idea of black men going out here and expressing themselves on the platform. What they don't like is the fact that we have 3 different black men presenting narratives that refute many of the white supremacist narratives out there regarding black men, and that these black men, like myself, Professor Black Truth, and CoryXKenshin, are showing you a larger picture of the world of black men that humanizes black men and shows that there is a diversity of thought regarding black men, and that there are black men out here who can go out here and do other things other than participate in YouTube beefs, gender war back and forths, or other silly nonsense, which is what many of the white racists and non-black racists want to see. And it's clear that somebody at YouTube only wants to see a certain type of black content on this platform. Because what happened to CoryXKenshin, again, was the same thing that happened to me. It was the same thing that happened to Professor Black Truth, and I'm sure it happened to many other black male YouTubers, and it clearly shows that there is somebody at this platform who has a serious issue with black men on their platforms, and what they want to do is try to find a way to get those black men off the platform so that they can go out here and have their smooth world where they can see the only black male stereotypes because that's the only reason why we're seeing these age restrictions being used, as I see, maliciously and weaponized to try to attack black male channels. Now, what happened to CoryXKenshin is the same thing again that happened to me, and what I look at it is that there's again a pattern, because if CoryXKenshin wasn't a very popular YouTuber, we wouldn't be getting any sort of press on this issue. Now, they went from going after small guys like myself and medium-sized guys like Professor Black Truth, and now they're trying to go after more popular YouTubers because they think that nobody is going to notice. But CoryXKenshin did notice, and many in the media also are starting to notice, and that's what might be the thing that leads to YouTube jamming themselves up like they did many years ago. Because I remember back in the 2010s when the gender war was going on, and we had a whole host of individuals going out here false flagging, and they led to the terminations of many popular black male YouTube channels like Dan Freeman, and led to people like Rick Scorpio and many others leaving the platform. And that's basically what they want to happen now. They want to push all of the black content off of the YouTube platform so that they can put their certified minstrels on the platform like they did with the late Kevin Samuels. What they want to do is put people like the late Kevin Samuels on the platform, and they want them to go out here and be the voice that represents the black community, and they wanted guys like the late Kevin Samuels to be the ones presenting the only narrative on the platform. And again, that is diametrically opposed to the original mission of YouTube, which was broadcast yourself, but they don't want black men broadcasting themselves and presenting ideas that run counter to many of the stereotypes. And that is what your CoryXKenshin found out. He found out that even though he was a gamer and was trying to go with a, as I see it, tried to go with a neutral stance, they still saw him as black at the end of the day. And he's seeing that, you cannot sit there and be neutral, because the same people who go after people like myself and Professor Black Truth, these are the same people who see black as something bad, and they see intelligent, working class, hard, conscientious black men like myself, Professor Black Truth, and many others as a threat to their platform, because every time a black man is on a platform like this and speaking freely like myself, again, we are living, breathing refutations of white supremacy's ideas about black people, and we are living, breathing examples of how to combat anti-black racism, which is what I believe your YouTube is participating in by going after channels with this whole new age restriction game, and then trying to turn age restrictions into strikes, and then trying to use that as a way to push foundational black American men off the platform. And this is, again, it's a tactic that basically they've been doing for several months. And I even had one point where they basically were trying to remove a video that hadn't even premiered. And many at YouTube want to say, oh, it's the algorithm, oh, it's something in their machine language. No, this is anti-black racism, and the anti-black racism is part of the program over at YouTube. And what happened was they got caught because they went after one of their prominent YouTubers who was out here who thought he was safe, but he wasn't safe, because the same white supremacists who want to take guys like myself and Professor Black Truth off the platform are the same ones who eventually are going to go after their more prominent black male YouTubers like a CoryKenshin, because they, again, don't want black men on the platform. They don't mind having those black women like a Cynthia G or on the platform, as long as she's talking about black men needing to are no good, and black boys need to be aborted. They don't have a problem with that. No, but once you start talking about black men going out here and doing things like gaming, and I talked about this a while back, I said They don't like the idea of seeing black comic fans and black sci-fi and fantasy fans on these platforms, and they don't like it because they think that that behavior, it is so-called acting white, but seeing us expressing ourselves, this makes them uncomfortable. And seeing that black people have a diversity of thought and have diversity of ideas, this also makes many on social media very uncomfortable, because the only thing that they want to see us doing is going out here looking at big butt women, going out here talking about smoking up, talking about going out here and doing all sorts, going back and forth with another man, talking about how he smells like dookie. And that's the kind of content that they want to see from black men on YouTube. But I believe that since CoryXKenshin has now exposed the anti-black racism at YouTube, we might possibly be in a situation where your YouTube might wind up in the case of a class action lawsuit if they don't deal with the employees who are out here targeting black channels. Because it's a clear pattern here, even though when I talked to people at Google support, they were saying, oh, there's nobody targeting black channels, but it's clear from what happened to CoryXKenshin, there is somebody at YouTube clearly targeting black channels because they don't like the content that black people are putting on their channels. So when I look at what happened to CoryXKenshin, again, I can speak from personal experience that there clearly is something going on at YouTube, because you can't have it where 3 different YouTubers with 3 different messages are out here getting attacked. And again, it's not just the YouTubers who talk about black women this time like they tried last time. Here you have Professor Black Truth, who is about black empowerment. You have myself, which talks about black fantasy and black science fiction and comic books, in addition to talking about issues in the black community. And now you have CoryXKenshin, a black gamer, dealing with the exact same issue. So we clearly see from 3 different YouTubers that there is one form of anti-black racism going on the platform, and if they continue to deny this racism, YouTube might be in for another class action lawsuit like they got in, I believe, 2011, when black male YouTubers got fed up and they had to back off from attacking and targeting black channels. Now, this was a video that was requested by a viewer, and it was one I definitely wanted to talk about because I experienced everything CoryXKenshin has experienced, and I want more people to know that this isn't just isolated incidents. This clearly is targeted at black channels, and I want people to know what many black male YouTubers like myself have to deal with when we're trying to make content for this platform. Now, if you want to see me make more content on this platform, and you can donate to the Cash App or the Patreon or the PayPal by clicking the links in the description box. Or you can head over to Amazon.com to pick up some of my positive black fiction and support the channel that way. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available. Paperback and Kindle Unlimited. ISIS, the main event. It's carnage inside of a steel cage when the goddess next door steps in the squared circle with the beast from the boss in this action-packed all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, the main event, paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.